see. Up, hit it, up. Haha. Hello. We are, well, I'm live anyways. Live with the Leifeng Cup. I'm in Korea right now, as I will be for the next month. And ideally, I'll be able to cast a couple of Korean, time stuff. Now that I'm in like an okay time zone for it. Without Rifkin, or if he actually feels like waking up with Rifkin, of course. I'm going to depend on you guys to tell me if the sound is okay. Right now I have the mic like a little off to my side, which might be causing like a bit of like, hollowness, basically. I can move that. I was testing and fiddling around with it earlier, but we'll see what actually happens, combined with everything else, I suppose. So it's going to tell me about the in-game sounds as well, because I had a new setup, so everything's not actually as it was back at home, although that would have been really ideal. Anyway, today's first match is going to be JieShi versus aLive. So of course we recognize aLive, not so much the other guy, but I mean this guy has been participating a lot in Leifeng Cups, if you guys have been paying attention to the other Leifeng Cups. He's actually, obviously got to the group stages, right? This is Group D. I was planning on casting Group C yesterday, but unfortunately my apartment wasn't quite ready. And then, I just ended up, doing the whole apartment thing, like getting set up in the apartment, as well as like looking at the surrounding area, making sure I had everything I needed for the night type deal. So that's what took up that time. Ideally, that should be it. The one complication that this night's kind of testing, so don't get too excited about the idea of like a lot of solo casts in Korea with a lot of Korean stuff, because basically it's 8 o'clock right now in Korea, 8 at night, right? So like even if they can hear me, hopefully my neighbors aren't too upset right now. But maybe as it gets closer to midnight, maybe they will get upset, or maybe they don't hear me at all. I don't actually know. I'm kind of like condensed myself up into this little like, well, my room first of all is already condensed as fuck, right? But like my bathroom's right here, which I'm pretty sure nothing gets through there. I've not heard anyone like flushing or taking a shower or anything like that. But on the left side, I actually bought like a little bit of a phone thing. But that's like mostly what I'm worried about is like my neighbor over there. She was like watching the TV the other night. I only heard it outside, so ideally, when it comes to room, no one hears anything. I don't know. Anywho. Has this actually caught up? The delay is 2 minutes, so okay, it seems like no one's had any major complaints about the audio. This is kind of like the highest, the loudest I'm gonna be. I'm like a little bit kind of keeping my voice low, This isn't quite my caster voice that I use usually, and hopefully it's okay. Thank you to Pergstream for the 20-month resub. I actually was like asking everyone, like, unfortunately, like Tasteless had like no idea how this is gonna work. He's never had to cast or even really stream from his apartment. He has a much nicer apartment anyway, so it probably wouldn't matter. But like everyone else just like had no idea. Rapid, just such a lucky guy, has like no one in the surrounding rooms, so he actually can be pretty loud and he streams. He told me that the PC cafes actually aren't so bad for casting. He did it like yesterday, like 5 in the morning, just went to sat down and cast, and that's an option, especially for some of the European time zone casts, like Top Dogs, which, yeah, that's gonna be like 4 in the morning here, something like that, so, the plan is to continue casting like as much as as I possibly can, and with Rifkin, without Rifkin, whatever, just to calm him up to do as much as possible. And I might have to use the PC bong. I actually, I tested it earlier today. I got up early, and it actually, you couldn't hear the background noise, which is surprising. Like, literally the guy who owns the place, will just play music, and just assume everyone has headphones, which isn't wrong. And they didn't pick up any of the music, which I thought was really surprising, because, yeah, I picked, a corner spot, but, I could still hear it pretty well when I took off my headphones, so I don't know. The only problem with the PC bong, honestly, is just, getting used to talking, when there's, people around you, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna be talking continuously, so apologies, I don't understand what you're saying, right? When DJ tweeted her room was small, she was not lying. No, I was not lying. Like, literally, guys. Like, you can actually see. I was going to do a video, and then I got caught up shopping, basically, and getting everything I needed for the rest of the month. But this is my bed. Right here. They didn't come with a pillow or blanket, so I had to buy those. And then there's a door, you know, and there's a little nice mirror. Oh, we're getting the game started. But then right here is literally my bathroom. It is actually a toilet and a sink, and then there's also a shower head, but that's like, it's like enough for me to stand in, basically, and that's what they consider a shower stall. So it's like, it's actually not so bad. The only thing, like, I don't mind this enclosed space. In fact, I kind of, like, prefer it because I don't have a lot of stuff, and I don't have a lot of, you know, necessity to move a lot, but I do, you know, worry about the sound. Which, again, like, I don't know if, like, the soundproofing is actually better than it seems, you know, and we're not hearing each other just because we don't hear each other, like no one's screaming, or if everyone is just super quiet because that's how Koreans are. Like, you guys don't understand. What? No, oh no, I changed it on the other thing. No! I changed it in America. I'm so dumb. I was gonna say that, oh, this is so gross. Oh my god, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm just gonna get, like, rid of these for, like, the first... Like, let's not even cast, you know? Let's really not count this cast. Anyways, like, on the subway, they're actually, like, super quiet. It's, like, so disturbing coming from, like, you know, New York subways and DC subways, which, to be fair, like, people aren't, like, loud and screaming at each other, but they're having conversations at a normal tone, or a little bit louder because of all, like, the, you know, ambient noise. No, not in Korea, man. Like, you're having a conversation, you better be, like, whispering to each other, right? It's so weird. Thank you to Wiggy B for the Twitch Prime sub. It's really cool to see new subs. I saw like a lot of people had resubs while we were gone, like 97 or something like that. Last time we cast was 2 days ago, which isn't bad. But that's just, you know, so cool that so many people are subbing back to us. Anywho, oh god, this is so disgusting, guys. I'm so sorry. That should be fixed for the next game. Tell me how the sounds are compared to StarCraft. Again, this is like as loud as I'm gonna go, so even though I could be using a more caster voice, like, I'm not going to, just in case, like, that's, like, the difference between hearing me and not hearing me. So, let me know what the StarCraft sounds sound like. Again, I tested it, but you guys have preferences. But here we are. It is a best of 3 for the first match of the day. It's a GSL-style format. In the top left, as the blue Protoss, he is JieShi. And in the top right, as the purple Terran, he's aLive. And he's doping, because, you know, he's Terran. Oh, it just feels like... It feels like I'm zoomed in, you guys. Like, this is actually gross. Oh, God. Thank you to Viveka, Area 52, for the 4-month resub. You guys might, you know, be noticing you don't hear the Tasia claps or anything like that. That's because I did not consider that I didn't have Firefox pre-installed. So, if you don't know how this works, I guess, a really easy trick if you're going to be managing multiple Twitch accounts is just use multiple, like, internet, you know, providers, like, God forbid, Internet Explorer, but, like, even that, and you just, like, lock in everything over there. So while Chrome transferred over, because I have, like, you know, a Google account, Firefox didn't, so I thought I was all set up, ready to go. I actually wasn't. Rip everything, but oh well. During downtime, you guys are, like, free to ask me questions about Korea and stuff like that, but keep in mind that even though I technically have 2 monitors, because I set up my laptop and my monitor and put them as, like, extended displays, my laptop's, like, kind of pushed to the side. You know, it's, like, a lot smaller, too. So that's where, like, my OBS feed is right now, just in case something goes wrong with the stream, but you guys are super tiny over there. Also, let me know if, like, if there's, like, really, like, a lot of distortion when I do shit like this. I'm actually rocking back and forth right now. Let me know how bothersome that is. Anyway, we see, like, a little bit of an attempt. I mean, this isn't even, like, a real attempt, right? At doing the pylon. Oh, actually, no, it might be kind of real. It doesn't feel that real because it does come late. But it will be like this, a supply depot. But not much else. We wouldn't mind popping out and what should have been Marines on the way. He's a little late on that, actually. Actually, this is gonna be a reactor, too. It was so funny to see the probe try and dive for the mineral line, you know, so I really didn't think it was gonna do a lot of damage, but of course I was also rambling off about nonsense, so it shows what I know. Anyway, the thing is, like, even if it does get down, even if it does, you know, technically effectively work, the pylon rush has not killed Terrans in a long time, and it shouldn't, you know, especially with a Terran, like, aLive. So the Reaper gets in here, he wants to make sure that the follow-up isn't something too extreme, because that's where the Terrans do die. to the pylon rushes. That's when, you know, the pylon rush into like the proxy Stargate into like, you know, Blink Stalker or something like that, like super cheesy. But nah, it hasn't happened. Actually, this is interesting. I forgot to check, and this is totally on me, guys, but I totally forgot to check, like, is this a new balance patch? Like, I downloaded something, but I don't remember if that's what I was downloading. That's gonna be super interesting as we watch the Cyclone come out, I suppose. Reaper actually managed to get some damage done, like, a lot of damage done, surprisingly. The Wood of Mine now coming in, too. That's a lot more damage, potentially. Marines come in, all those probes look super juicy right now. In fact, the most Reaper doesn't have enough energy, but that Reaper got like 2 more probes up here, so a total of 8 probes killed. That's pretty extreme. Cyclone is now out, and the pylon's being taken care of. Actually, I can't... Oh no, okay, so this isn't the new patch. Okay, good. Because I am not prepared to cast that, to be honest. Like, I have not done any research into it. Game sounds could be a tad higher, but it's not bad. Okay, I'll keep that in mind next time. If they're higher, they would take over, though. Let me know if it's the music or the game sounds that should be higher, because... Yeah, I don't know. It's always nice to have that big, like, you know, boom when something exciting happens. I don't mind if that drowns me out so much, but if it drowns me out, like, you know, if the music is constantly drowning me out, then I don't want to do that. Oh, you can't hear any rocking. Okay, that's super cool. So I'll be as close as possible to the mic, like a radio star or something. And we've got Stalkers coming in here, and they do have Blink, so they're going to be able to provide some pretty light pressure. Marine scouts the intention of a 3rd base, which is always good. I mean, he was up there scouting all the gateways and saw that there wasn't any, like, seriously, like, a Blink Stalker all in, like, 7 gateways type deal coming on, but it's always nice to see that the intention is there. And he'll also check back with the Marine, I'm guessing, to see... how many probes are there, like if you took other gases, like that type of stuff. Resident Enclave's on the way, Immortal's on the way. We have been seeing a lot more Colossus play in this matchup. Brought that up at the Enlima League, and actually just watching the Enlima League weeklies, you know, like when Hero played, he was one of the ones that I was like, oh shit, people are doing this. And it's kind of been a thing for the last couple of weeks. But not so for maybe the Chinese, which is actually something we don't get to talk about too more since the heyday of like San and gosh, like all the other Protosses basically that Rotterdam loved, right? Rotterdam, Mr. Bitter, oh my god, that's a throwback. But the point is, you know, they would constantly talk about how different the Chinese server is, and it's still true. Like, they have their own little meta, kind of, either they're kind of behind, or they just, like, super interesting. I don't know how much that actually is nowadays, though, to be honest, because, again, we just don't cast the Leifeng Cups. Unfortunately, the times that we've tried and said, like, let's suck it up and do the times, you know, as terrible as they are, there's been, like, massive delays and just doesn't seem worth it. So I know Wardy's been covering. Like, huge shout out to that guy. If it turns out that, you know, I can't cast into the late hours, you know, I can only do, like, so much of the cast, well, that kind of sucks, but also, I can just horse Wardy, because he's been doing this for quite a while. And he is, he's casting as well, so if, you know, not your flavor, just, you know, ready to admit, like, go watch Wardy. We do have tanks, of course, at least one of them out, but I actually have 2 medevac, no, 3 even, yeah. Okay, that's a lot of tanks. So, I mean, this is one, defensive, like, the days of going right into the tech labs for your barracks after the Wood of Mine opener are kind of over and done with. You do want to get tanks, not just because they're good defensively, but also because they can add to the push eventually, so there's kind of no reason not to do it, you know, especially on a map like Frost. Mic can be about 10% higher. Well, I actually can't raise the mic, but I can lower the overall sounds elsewhere by 10%. That kind of does the same thing, I guess. Okay, I don't know what's outside. I actually hear the outside because we have windows. But there sounds like a dying cat, I swear to God. Like, but I think it's just a person just making weird sounds. There's actually a cat cafe like 5 minutes from me, but I don't think that's what it is. So weird. Alright, so the main force of the Protoss is moving out here. I mean, it did take damage early on, like, you know, 10 probes is, or almost 10 probes is pretty significant. But it was, you know, a 3 base came down pretty okay for a Protoss. It's still faster than the Terran, which is pretty important. And their army is scary, especially coupled with an attack into the main base. Now this is actually a lot of Adepts, so this tiny little reinforcement line is not going to cut it. But we also have Adepts in the natural. They did shade forward. He's going to go for the attack here. I mean, the Immortals will be able to bust down the tanks if they got into range. There's actually one tank covering, so they just kind of go behind and deny mining. 10 SCVs went down, the main and natural. Not too shabby, a lot more here as they try and rally back. Forcefield wants to catch the last couple. Not a terrible attack, you know, mostly the gateway units were lost, see the Immortal's still alive, this, okay, it's an observer. And back at home, you know, he is reinforcing in case aLive did take that as an opportunity to counterattack, and he didn't overstay his welcome. So 15 SCVs dead. Seriously guys, the overlay is killing me. Like, not only am I casting at a different time, trying to be kind of quiet, I was with the stupid God overlay. At least you guys can see what the hotkeys are. I always thought it was so interesting when I first got into StarCraft to see what the hotkeys were, so I actually copied TLO's hotkey setup when he played Terran a long time ago. I think he has a vastly different setup for Zerg, and just as he like started experimenting with better setups. But anyway, Dark Shrine is on the way now. Just a good addition for our new Protosses, you know, come the third, fourth bases. And the fourth base, like I said, I was going to say, should be on the way soon. Interesting that we do have our Protoss player taking this fourth base, so I don't want to say it's hidden necessarily. I think that a lot of players just realize that taking this base is just, especially in these positions, just could be like, you know, it's just trouble. And while, yeah, you know, just, you know, an observer up here and the Xel'Naga taken over here, you can see where the Terran's attacking into. You still got that cliff to deal with, so you still would usually take this base, though, right? Like, the point is, expanding south is not what's weird, it is the fact that he skipped a base, so I would say that it's kind of hidden, and that is interesting. But the reason that it's just like, you know, it doesn't even matter is because, of course, aLive's not scouting for the fourth base quite yet. The game is obviously going to be going on for a couple more minutes at least. So, you know, you kind of have that, like, well, this is how the game is going to go. The Protoss is going to get to 4 bases. Because if they're going to do a 3-base all-in, they would have already done it. You know, that would have been a committed attack right there as opposed to the harassment the Adepts did. A little bit of a mistake right now. But I actually have the army surprisingly crisscrossing here. You know, aLive didn't see the Protoss army, which includes a Colossus, by the way, so I brought that up earlier, but this is more of the, you know, 3-base, 4-base Colossus. The Colossus I was talking about earlier we might see for maybe some other Protosses the next couple of weeks is like 2-base Colossus. But anyway, it is turned into a base trade, one that, by the way, JieShi was totally willing to do. Like, he knew where the army was coming in. He tried to take Xel'Naga, so this is really on him to take, and aLive is trying to respond to it. Liberators siege up, and there's actually enough Stalkers, but with the help of whatever leftover bio and tanks, actually like an enormous amount of damage to the gateway count. So that Colossus is actually like super vulnerable right now. Looks like the command center is going to go down. We do have the army already killing the 3rd base, scanning for DTs. Looks like in a last-ditch effort to save it. I mean, warping in DTs was not a bad idea whatsoever, and in fact, it's going to be very useful, so it had been a real base trade. Unfortunately, it was literally a base for a base. The command center didn't go down, which was really, I thought, was supposed to happen. I mean, with the fact that there was like still 10 Stalkers left over, but a lot of SCVs went down. How many probes went down? Not nearly as many, so it looks like because he knew the base trade was happening, he pre-pulled the probes back. Of course, you have this 4th base that's still, I don't believe, seen by aLive. Again, he might assume this is already taken, but even that he hasn't checked, so maybe he's thinking it was more about 3 bases versus 3. I think that aLive just has the better army, though. Like, he took down the Colossus, took out the Immortal, upgrades 1-1 versus 1-1. I mean, almost 2-2 actually for aLive. He's still upgrading. Vikings even out right now. They're not targeting the Colossus, but I get that Mothership Core, no force and overcharge to back up against. Marauders are all that's left over, which means that the Colossus actually had a tough time dealing with them. DT makes aLive have to retreat, though. He's actually swiping away quite a bit at those Marauders. But now here's the rest of the army. It was chasing the rest of the Protoss army, and everything's going to collect together and just be so much bigger for the Terran player, especially if it's out in the middle like this, then the concave is going to be pretty damn good for aLive. And in fact, JieShi realizes this. Realizes he also doesn't have enough, you know, fodder for his Colossus. The Adepts are all gone, and Stalkers actually they're already protecting the freaking Colossus. The Colossus just goes down, sniped. Wouldn't gets a good shot off too. 5 more probes go down. I think that's just about it. Like, it's possible the Protoss holds again for a second here, especially with the DT being warped in, but the fact that the 3rd command center didn't go down, and of course, you know, Terran can lift their main and natural, yeah. I don't think even this hidden fourth base, as good as the mining is right there, is going to be enough to stop the stampede of Terran production, because that's still going pretty strong. I mean, it was like 3 Marauders at a time right there. The only thing he's really depending on is the DTs one at a time, you know? But again, like, had he killed one of the command centers, maybe there wouldn't be scans available, but there's in fact at least one more scan after this one. Oh, I do believe that is it. I mean, you look at this group and you would think that aLive would do pretty well. GG. GG. But yeah, you would think that aLive would do pretty well with these groups. It's actually like the last time we really looked in a Leifeng Cup and like whether or not we're going to cast it, it was really just the weeklies. But now, of course, you have not just aLive in here, but you have Gumiho and Stats too. So unfortunately, JieShi, not only Protoss, but the only unknown. So he's gonna have to really do a lot, I suppose, to impress enough to get out of this group. So I did reduce the overall sounds, besides me, by 10%, just because someone said, you know, raise yours 10%. But yeah, okay, it looks like everything's good now. So you can't hear the game music at all? Like, that's important. Let me turn that up a little bit, make sure that the flippin'... Okay, it is game heart, thank God. Like, that tilted me. That actually made me, like, I don't even know what to do right now. Oh my God, where did my Chrome go? Oh, phew. Whew. I thought I lost it. Okay. So just a reminder that at, like, any point, like, my neighbor could, like, knock on my door and be like, shut the fuck up. And I'd have to be like, okay, I'm sorry. And there'd be, like, nothing I could do. I had to pack up and try another PC bong. Which, I mean, it's possible, and I should try it anyway. Just, you know, if that works, then great. But just, like, it's gonna be so weird. I don't really want to, you know. I want to stay in my comfy little room, which, by the way, has no air conditioning. My air conditioning is literally having the window open, which works out fine, believe it or not. The outside is like 30 degrees, inside is like 80. It's kind of weird that they made that work out. But anyway, because we were missing all the prettiness that is game, we're also missing the game scores. So now we have that up as a best of 3 in this first match of the day. In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is aLive. And in the top left, as the red Protoss, he is JieShi. There's some people using different names for this guy, which, I don't know. So this is Group D. I actually don't even know where I am anymore on this Wikipedia page. Wikipedia, there we go. And I just see JieShi, so I don't know what else I want to talk about. Okay. So, yeah. That was a macro game. You know, even with that little pylon rush, doesn't really count as a cheese anymore. But it looks like JieShi doesn't want another macro game. He actually wants to legitimately cheese. So, proxy Stargates, probably, most likely. That's usually the thing to do against Terran, and it's just dependent on, you know, does aLive... I mean, first of all, he's going to get a Reaper. I actually know he's going to get a Reaper. So he should be able to scout something suspicious on Frozen Temple. You know, easy Reaper hop-ups, obviously, as well as just a short map. Just the question is, like, can he react to it in time? And in fact, it looks like he's going to just straight off the bat go looking for the proxy Stargate. So clearly, he's played this guy before, or just... you know, knows the style of this Protoss, or just this, like, you know, fucking Protoss bullshit, like, I'm gonna scout all the time. So it goes right to what is not the most common proxy location, but you can like it's for example like not that big of a map, right? So you can kind of guess around. So this means he's not going to get a scout in the main base, but if you manage to actually see the proxy, then you know it's as good as a scout in the main base, you know. So what's really dirty is that JieShi, I guess he saw that last game and thought like, oh shit, like I actually got the pylon rush down. So he's gonna go and try and like follow that up. Unfortunately, if the Oracle doesn't get out, then it really is just like that pylon rush last game. Or okay, maybe it kills the supply depot and reactor, but you know what else? What else can it do? Okay, so the Adept comes and saves the Stargate, which is pretty important, but of course aLive is going to start considering this. So he already put a bunker in the low ground. Like, he knew it was up. He could have pulled the SEs and, like, held it up in the main base, too, but a bunker in the low ground is going to be very, very helpful. And target fire that high one, and then, yeah, get the SCVs in the low one, and the Militia Corps. Okay, you're going to need Marines, more than 2 Marines to take care of her, but she's not nearly as scary as the Photon Overcharges. Looks like the Photon Overcharge is actually good on this first pylon. The second pylon, maybe the second. I don't think it's actually worth it, but the Oracle's in the main base. The Cyclone's not quite ready, and there's actually nothing protecting the SCVs. Oh my gosh, I can't believe aLive actually is taking so much damage from them that he scouted very, very early on. So 10 SCVs go down. Combination. Oh my god, I would have shouted if I was allowed to. Mothership Core goes down, trying to recall the Oracle too, and the Oracle goes down because of it as well. That's pretty crazy. The second Oracle is going to come in, and the Cyclone is still prepped and ready to take care of that. But she, you know, the Oracle would still get like 4 or 5 more SCVs, which might just be worth it. I mean, the 10 worker lead now for JieShi. Of course, his Nexus isn't very far along, so there's not going to be double pumped probes anytime soon. But still, like, it might be worth, you know, taking a little bit of pepper on that Oracle. But I guess with a Cyclone, it really is all or nothing. It's going to chase you down if you actually commit. So how is that cat cafe? I don't know. I haven't gone yet. I actually, it's going to be one of my free days, I guess. Tomorrow, I actually have to hang out with a couple of peeps. So that'll be my day then, but in the future, yeah. I mean, our current plan right now, I haven't updated the, oh no, the Oracle's gonna go down. Ooh, whoops, a daisy. At least I get the Revelation, I suppose. Proxy Pylon also has gone down too, because that Reaper stayed alive, and, okay, you know, the taking the 10 SCV losses, like, it probably could reduce something like 6 or 7 if it was, like, the absolutely most perfect, you know, defense, basically, by aLive, but 10 is still like, okay, well, I guess you gotta get me somewhere. Either gonna be the Photon Overcharge or it's gonna be the Oracle. And in that case, it was the Oracle, but recovering very nicely. You know, already almost back up. And JieShi, I mean, it's really kind of like, was a Proxy Target actually worth it? Especially because the second Oracle went down like that. The second Oracle stays alive, the 2 Cyclones move out eventually, and you get like 2 SCV kills every minute. That starts to really add up. Or you get the Revelation on the Cyclones or the Army. Like, that stuff's really important. Unfortunately now, just no, you know, map awareness whatsoever. That Oracle's, you know, basically it for the Protoss player when they do this. Well, Blink is on the way. We do have another gateway too. I mean, 5 gateways for 2 bases is an extreme, but it's also not exactly what you would expect for a macro game. No, I mean, this is like the middle of the road pressure. Oh, spoke too soon. So say you add any more gateways, and it's just all in, you know. You might be able to expand eventually, do enough damage, or it takes too long, and you realize it's not quite working, but you can contain the Terran, then take a 3rd base. But we all know what that many gateways actually means. There's a proxy pylon as well, not in the same location as the Stargate. I mean, it would have been kind of clever to build like on the Stargate. Maybe that's like, it's so obvious, aLive would never scout that again, kind of a deal. But in fact, maybe he should have, because that Cyclone is like literally looking for that pylon right now. Ooh. So close too, and this, you know, is gonna get a proxy gateway. Actually, I would say that even a slow proxy pylon warp in would have been, you know, it's better than nothing basically, but committing the full gateway, I mean, it was already a committal, you know. If it was 4 gateways back at home and this is the 5th one, then it's like, again, like 5 gateways is very different than 7 or 8. The Cyclone, gotta see it, right? Okay, good. I was like, there's no way it doesn't see it right now. So, fortunately, that means no instant warp-ins, that means no close warp-ins, because there's no robo, and it just means, I mean, the opener was mediocre, shall we say, and then it turned kind of bad, losing the second Oracle for the Protoss. Then you add this on top of it, and it's actually just a terrible game for JieShi right now. He is kind of running out of time to do something, and if his you know, thing to do is to expand, then it's actually almost hopeless. Because as soon as aLive realizes he's trying to expand off of what should have been a commitment, you know, it just starts dropping and pushing and pulling the Protoss apart. So it's all or nothing right now for JieShi. He's got Stalkers, a lot of Stalkers, but, you know, aLive also has, like, a lot of Marauders and Marines, so I'm going to give them the edge, especially when more medevacs come out. Especially if the Liberator and Widow Mines get siege up on this ramp right here. There's no way JieShi is going to be able to go up it, and it's only the, you know... Okay, so much for that Widow Mine. But I was going to say... the only other option is to go around to the left or the right, and it just, you know, that would take so much time. Like, literally 30 seconds right now is just, you you start realizing how, like, truly bad it is. So unfortunately, this one of mine did not get shot out by aLive, question mark, and got another shot. JieShi gonna go for kind of the secret. This is, like, definitely more of a secret expansion than the other game was. Like, that secret expansion on Frost was so weird, you know? A fourth base as a hidden expansion is, like... You get the idea, so that you don't have to worry about being dropped so much, but it's also, I don't know, like, I feel like, and you know what, if his plan was a base trade, well, the point is, like, this is just, like seriously, like a Hail Mary, right? The last secret base was not a Hail Mary so much as it was, like, a, well, this might be able to help me out in the long run. This is like, God, I hope that I can double expand, apparently, and, like, get away with it, which is even, I don't even know about that, right? Because you have to send probes to this base to actually make it, like, you know, worth it, obviously, and I guess they'll just transfer probes to this one, like, from the main base, you know, and that doesn't look so suspicious, but I see probes going over here, that'll be really weird. He's got a gas guy there, too, so, like, I guess he's gonna immediately saturate that. Well, Protoss army has been building a little bit. He is, I guess, very wary of letting a Marine scout up there, which is, you know, kudos to him. Like, if aLive just thinks, like, oh, that's where the army was, now I know, now I have information, and doesn't bother checking back up there, then, yeah, the Nexus could totally be gotten away with. Main base is almost mined out, so that third transfer would make the most sense. aLive has actually gotten above and beyond with the SCV count, maybe like 4 or 5 more, and he'll be pretty perfect. Cyclone's still checking for those proxy pylons, or let's say warp prisms floating across the map. Still very useful units. Dark Shrine did finish. Visiting Glaze is also on the way, and apparently VTs, I don't know about revealing themselves to the Cyclone, because now aLive, you know, should just be thrown on missile turrets. Oh, he already did. Just kidding. Okay, then kill the Cyclone if you want to. Oh, you actually scanned it. That was very close. Well. That's one Hail Mary that didn't work, but this Nexus, it's not just up and running and building probes, it also actually got the transfer of probes. That's kind of insane. Unfortunately, as JieShi has to move away from what is this really good-looking bio army, he's also kind of dragging them into... Is that me? Oh, it's the player. Okay, hopefully he's all good. Yeah, I will say I had a panic attack earlier today when the internet dropped, and I was like, oh shit, like, this is gonna be one of those, like, bad internets that seems good, and it's just because I pulled the plug out. Mobby. Anyway. This army just can't sustain, like, it can't go up against what is, you know, this huge bio army that has 1-1, by the way. JieShi doesn't even have, like, a War Prism threatening, he doesn't have Immortals on the way, like, much less Colossus. It's a terrible position for this guy. I understand, like, getting, like, the economy all boosted up and ready to go, and maybe, like, 20-30 Adepts and something you have a scary army too, but, especially as you get to, like, 11-12 minutes of the game, you know, it's gonna be more about Liberators, which are, you know, scary unit themselves, and you're going to want higher tech, or at least better upgrades. You're going to go all Gateway Army, +1 only just on the way. That's not going to last. That's not going to finish. That Widow Mine, by the way, just got another shot. Dear God. It was a hero. I never, like, killed 4 units, but it's damaged a lot of Stalkers. Concave on the high ground, even with, like, a handful of bio without medevacs, is still good enough against, you know, naked Stalkers, and this is totally game. GG. Oopsie. Okay, so aLive 2 zeros. You know, it was kind of expected, and unfortunately, Protoss player didn't really get any tricks working out, which maybe could have given him a game, so we're going to go into the next game. Which is, I think they're actually doing it in order on the Team Liquid, stats versus aLive. I said earlier it was GSL style. I don't know what I was talking about. I'm just like an autopilot basically, from doing like so many other GSL groups. I was actually not. So it's like aLive versus JieShi, stats versus aLive. It's actually a round robin type deal. But I don't know how long it takes. Again, like we haven't done Leifeng in a long time, and even when we did, it was like the weeklies that was just like Corsair, like just open playing field. So we'll see how long it takes me in the next game. Hopefully about 2 minutes, because that's what this ad break's gonna be. See you guys soon.